necesitamos desconectar para estar conectados. Renault Symbiote Full Hybrid E-Tech autorrecargable.
En Castilla y León todo nace sabiendo. Sabe a reconocer la excelencia de las cosas buenas, al arte de hacer feliz al paladar y a dejar el corazón contento. Sabe a degustar estrellas y a conservar nuestra historia para disfrutar del presente. El sabor que nos une.
El campo pone la paciencia, el vino su carácter. Vuestra mirada lo cambia todo, para quienes disfrutan la cultura.
Wissen Sie, die Professoren waren eher entsetzt darüber, dass die Universität dieses Jahr auch Damen die Möglichkeit einer Bewerbung einräumt.
Ja, das war für mich auch recht offensichtlich.
What would you do if you want to connect with a being but have no common language?
What I want to test is not so complex.
Was für ein Experiment planst du denn?
Hola, muy buenos días a todas y todos. Soy Javier Estrada, jefe de programación de Seminci. Y bueno, es una jornada luminosa en las calles de Valladolid y sobre todo en los cines de Valladolid. La cineasta que nos acompaña, yo diría que ha marcado un recorrido muy particular. Hay algo en el cine del Lico en Jedi que nos emociona siempre, es que desde Magician, On Body and Soul, Story of My Wife, ha recorrido un camino, como digo, muy personal, muy versátil. Es una cineasta que yo diría se renueva película a película, no busca fórmulas y va dibujando un camino tremendamente iluminador que en Silent Friend, la película que hoy tiene su estreno en España en Seminci, marca, como os digo, otro importantísimo paso en su carrera y una película que ya habéis visto y seguro os ha cautivado. En primer lugar, os pido un aplauso de bienvenida para el Lico en Jedi. Bien, en primer lugar, quería abrir la conversación con el Lico preguntándole por estos momentos precisos, ¿no? Que ella elige, 3 momentos particulares, película, como has visto, en la que todo se une, pero en la que hay una concepción temporal, creo que tremendamente estimulante. Entonces, ¿por qué? ¿Qué le motivó a tomar estos referentes temporales?
In this film we want to get close to an experience which is very different from the human experience. One of these is the time frame we live in. So from the start it was clear that the film should show a longer time, but because we are human, we just can get glimpses, of course also in a feature film, of this very long life of a tree. And as I also wanted to draw attention to the fact that what we call reality is really ephemeral, is really changing the notion of reality. What we think is very solid and immovable is changing so quickly that I chose moments when there was a shift in the human perception. To be a young girl at the turn of the 20th century in this very structured life ruled by tradition, even the clothes, even the park, the botanical garden you see is very much controlled. But the first cracks are appearing. Of course, the whole 70s, I'm so lucky to be a teenager in that time and live through this beautiful time when a new generation thought that we can rethink the frames of our life, and we experimented with our senses in so many ways. And of course, the lockdown, all of us around this globe, we lived through a very, very, very special experience. It was frightening, it was horrible, but also it gave us time to rethink. Perhaps we should have thought a bit longer. Anyway, it questioned a lot about our way of life.
Un aspecto clave de la película es ese reto también de proponer tres miradas visuales, creo que tremendamente poderosas las tres. Y quería preguntarle a Lico por ese reto, el trabajo con su director de fotografía, cómo se planteaban también pues esas tres tonalidades, esas tres texturas.
Gergely Palos, who was years ago my student in film school, and by the way, he made the last two films of Roy Andersson. He just got in Chicago award for best cinematography, and I'm so happy for him. With him, we had a very long preparation. What we wanted is some simplicity and transparency, just to immerse ourselves in different perceptions with the way of image and sound. That this is the two what you can have in a cinema, of course. And we, from the start, we wanted to refrain from certain very showy, very spectacular visions of plants, what you can see in Natural Geography or films like about nature, films about nature. So somehow keeping our human limits a bit and just have some glimpses into another way of existing. And I'm sure you realize quite often it's a super simple choice just to change the focus of the lens and put the focus on the leaves, on the plant, instead of the humans. And somehow with this very basic and very simple, but in my opinion, effective way, not to enter really in the perspective of a plant, just to show that, hey, there is another perspective, and from that perspective, we are just little noisy elements on the periphery, not so important. And of course, for these three different human perceptions, we worked with 35 millimeter black and white for this sort of exactness and richness of detail, which is greatest period, where through photography, what she discovers is the structures, the whole structures of nature, the artistic side of nature. That's her discovery. So 35 was the right choice for that. So from the start, we were thinking about that and experimented with different negatives. And the 16 millimeter is not just, you can feel the 70s, but also that sort of impressionist approach. It's not about structure, it's about sensations. It's about hormones, pheromones, smells, and it's for many years I haven't worked at 60 millimeter, and it was a huge rediscovery. It's amazing. It is not showing structures, as I said, but patches of very burning, alive colors. So you can feel yourself in an impressionist painting. And digital today is taken for granted, and you say, the celluloid is the real stuff, but I have a huge respect for digital as well, and we wanted to deal with it with the respect and build on the expressive witty of digital as well. So that was, in a way, even the trickiest thing to figure out, how to have an expressive power for the digital, but not having any style, because then it's something pretentious, it's something chosen by us. So be simple, but expressive.
Seguro que tenéis preguntas para el Icon Jedi. Estamos atentos a vuestras manos levantadas. Aquí hay una.
Buenos días, felicidades por la película. Yo quisiera hacer un par de preguntas respecto del guión. La primera es que se me hace un guión muy bien elaborado, complejo, pero muy bien hecho, muy bien atado, unido. Y por ahí leí que habías hecho el guión pensando en el actor principal y en su participación, y como que no encuentro mucha relación entre las dos noticias que te digo, ¿no? Es decir, es un guión tan complejo que veo lejano que lo hayas hecho pensando solamente en este actor. Me gustaría que si pudieras abundar un poco más respecto al proceso de elaboración del guión y esta parte. Y la segunda, es una película que dura 2 horas y media y que para lo que aquí en España llaman el gran público puede ser una película difícil de ver por lo largo que es, pero desde mi perspectiva pareciera que queda historia como para otra hora por lo menos. Es decir, las historias quedan un poco abiertas en los 3 casos. Me gustaría saber, ¿quedaste contenta con los finales de las 3 historias o te hubiera gustado agregar algo más y quizás las presiones de producción no te dejaron hacerlo? Gracias.
I start with the last question. The film reflects lots of thoughts which are with me already for a long time, and it reflects lots of curiosity I follow for a long time. But I knew that I'm a story digesting animal. We are storytelling animals. This is the way we can be involved in a sort of conversation. So somehow I wanted to feed the beast, but in the same time to draw attention to other aspects of our life, which are less visible, less evident. So it was a very interesting balancing act, also through the writing, but also through the editing, to have these storylines, to have these people whom I personally love very much, but leave the stories open. And also when we move from one time to the other, have the connection not through the human stories, but rather through the sensations connected to the plants. So have, let's say, the openness of the audience through the stories into our world, but then give also something else. Actually, why I made the film, to give just some glimpses of another way of perceiving the world, what is of plants, and even among plants there are, oh my God, huge differences, and there are the animals, and there are even our reality is so different, and it's so beautiful if these different realities touch each other without the possibility of fully understanding the other. And in the writing process, that was what was leading me. You mentioned Tony Leung. Well, Silent Friend is the title of the film. The tree is one of the silent friends, but he is the other one. I knew that we are, even now, we are speaking with each other, so verbality has a very strong importance in our culture. In the same time, lots of important information is going on in between, even here, even between us, on the non-verbal level. So it's not by chance that his profession is neurology of early cognitive development. So he's working with beings with whom you cannot communicate verbally. And believe it or not, even 30 years ago, there were so wild thoughts about babies that they don't feel pain, that they are just very, very dumb little grown-ups. It's shocking in the light of actual researchers, and somehow the research towards plant communication, which had the first wave in the 70s, and I was amazed by them as a teenager, got a boost also about 25 years ago again. So somehow this was the leading motive, and for that I needed someone with a very, very special presence, with a very full presence, with just being there, without the help of the verbality and without the help of actions, because what can you do in the lockdown in an empty campus? And that was Tony. Beside being such an amazing actor with such a presence, he's also an outsider. All our human heroes are outsiders for different reasons. Greta, clear, she's the only girl. Hannes is a peasant boy coming to a university campus, and Tony is a professor coming from far away. For him, this little German town is very exotic. We are very exotic. So these were my reasons. It was a little bit long, but whatever.
¿Más preguntas? ¿Comentarios? Sí, aquí hay una.
Hola. Yo quería preguntar por el tratamiento del sonido en la película y la música, porque cuando hay imágenes de las plantas se escuchan sonidos como muy guturales, y quiero saber cómo se filmó eso, cómo se grabó, cómo fue la postproducción de sonido y eso. Gracias.
Thank you for this question, because as with the image, sometimes we had to show something invisible for the eyes. Here we, beside having lots of natural sounds from nature, we had to invent sounds and somehow to help us to imagine, to make our own imagination about what is happening really in a plant. I worked with a wonderful, wonderful French sound team, and it was fun. It was a beautiful way of experimenting, and somehow there again, I hope we achieved it. We try to be simple and not overdo it. Of course, when you are underground, you see something but you shouldn't see. And we just gave it a sound which just reflects that sort of power of the underground world, of the plants. But sometimes just to augment the sound level of certain sounds can have a meaning. These, at the very beginning of the film, I was there also on the Foley's sessions. It was real fun to create these tiny sounds when the seed opens and then it starts to grow. What I was looking for is some gooey sound, a bit alien sound, a bit even frightening or disgusting, not some nice little sound of nice little plants, just to show that we are entering in another universe. A bit what Greta experiences while photographing, which was very much inspired by Karl Blossfeld. Just check him. He was a German photographer who started to make photos of plants at the end of the last 10 years of the 19th century until the 30s of the 20th century. And he made the simplest thing on earth. He just took a simple plant, a cabbage, a potato, an onion, brought it to the photo studio. Even the lighting was very, very simple, and revealed these everyday plants like artworks. When you see his photos, you have the feeling that, oh my God, from which planet these very weird beings are coming? And it's just a piece of celery. So somehow, with the sound, we wanted to augment this sort of feeling that we are in a parallel universe, and we mixed this with the natural sounds, what we augmented time to time. And with the music, yeah, it was mostly ambient music, very minimalist. And there's just one moment this song, which is also at the end of the film, I was thinking for a very long time what Tony is listening when he wants to record something, when his inner feelings are strongly responding emotionally to something. And I found this song of Gaby Moreno. I think she's amazing. All her work is really amazing. And I thought just once I should show the passion, all the power of the feelings of this very introverted guy, just to have a glimpse what is behind this silence and behind this very reserved and polite surface.
Esta tarde el Teatro Calderón va a vivir el estreno en España de Silent Friend. Es una película, en nuestra opinión, una verdadera experiencia cinematográfica que muestra algo muy importante, quizás ahora más que nunca, es que hay otra forma de vida, hay otras conexiones posibles y necesarias, quizás para dignificarnos como condición humana. Os pido un fuerte aplauso para una humanista como Ildiko Endler.